The fluorescent lights of the Montgomery County courtroom hum at a frequency that feels like it's vibrating inside Marcus Thorne's skull. He is 24 years old, wearing a suit that's 2 sizes too large, borrowed from his uncle, and he is staring at the back of a witness's head. The witness is Mrs. Gable, a grandmother with a reputation for honesty, who has just pointed a trembling finger directly at Marcus. "That's him," she whispered. "I'll never forget those eyes." But Marcus knows something the jury doesn't. He knows he wasn't at the convenience store that night. He knows he was 3 miles away, sleeping in his own bed. Yet, the DNA is a match. The jacket in the evidence locker is his, and the witness is certain. In the next hour, we will see how a life can be dismantled by the most reliable source of evidence in the world, a human memory that is dead wrong. Before we dive into the evidence that turned a quiet neighborhood into a crime scene, make sure you are subscribed to One Verdict Away. Here, the truth is a puzzle with missing pieces. Join us for every trial. This story is a fictional dramatization inspired by real courtroom scenarios. Silver Spring, Maryland, is a place where suburban quiet is a prized commodity. But on the night of October 12th, that quiet was shattered by a single gunshot inside a corner grocery. The man in the dock is Marcus Thorne. Before this moment, Marcus was a culinary student with a clean record and a talent for making people feel at ease. Today, he is a man facing Maryland Public Safety Code, Section 5133, a series of charges that could put him behind bars for the next 25 years. The stakes are absolute. On one side sits the district attorney, holding a blue baseball cap that contains Marcus's DNA. On the other, a public defender who knows that in Maryland, an eyewitness identification is the hardest piece of evidence to break. Judge Harold Vance presides over a room so silent, you can hear the rain tapping against the high windows. There is no shouting here, just the heavy, rhythmic march of evidence that points to one inescapable conclusion. Marcus Thorne is a violent criminal. Or is he? The night of October 12th was a washout. A cold, relentless rain blurred the streetlights of Silver Spring. At 9:14 p.m., David Russo was counting the till at his grocery store. The CCTV, grainy and stuttering, shows a figure in a dark, hooded windbreaker enter. There is no conversation. The figure produces a handgun. Russo, a man who worked 20 years to build this shop, didn't move fast enough. A struggle ensued. A shot was fired into Russo's shoulder. The assailant grabbed $84 and fled into the downpour. But as he ran, his hood snagged on a display rack, knocking a blue baseball cap from his head. The police arrived 4 minutes later. They found the cap. They found the DNA. And 48 hours later, they found Marcus Thorne living 3 blocks away. When they showed Marcus the cap, he didn't look guilty. He looked confused. "I lost that hat in the park 2 weeks ago," he said. It was a simple explanation. It was also the exact thing a guilty man would say. The Montgomery County detectives were thorough, but they were also fast. In the world of criminal justice, speed can be the enemy of accuracy. They performed a 6-pack photo lineup for the primary witness, Mrs. Gable, who had been across the street walking her dog. We explore the psychological tension of that moment. Mrs. Gable didn't pick Marcus immediately. She looked at his photo for 3 minutes. She sighed. She looked again. Then, she tapped his picture. "This one," she said. "The eyes are the same." The defense team started digging where the police stopped. They searched for an alibi, but Marcus's phone had been dead that night. No GPS, no pings, no digital footprints. He was a ghost. But then, they found a lead that felt like a movie script. Marcus had an identical twin brother, Lucas, Living in Virginia, a DNA match would be identical. The defense thought they had their get-out-of-jail-free card. Until the investigators checked the Virginia records, Lucas Thorne was in a county jail on the night of the robbery. He had the perfect alibi. Marcus was back in the crosshairs. The trial is a study in human frailty and the limitations of science. The prosecution calls the DNA expert. He explains that the hair found inside the blue cap is a 99.9% match to Marcus. The jury looks at the cap, then at Marcus. To them, the hat is Marcus. The defense calls a specialist in cognitive psychology. She explains weapon focus, the theory that when a gun is present, a witness's brain stops recording facial features and starts recording the threat. Mrs. Gable didn't see Marcus, the expert argues. She saw a face that looked enough like a face she had seen in her neighborhood. The pivot comes during the cross-examination of David Russo, the victim. The defense attorney, Diane Sterling, plays the CCTV footage for the 100th time. She pauses it at the moment of the struggle. "Mr. Russo," she says quietly, "the man who shot you, which hand did he use to hold the gun?" Russo hesitates. It happened so fast. "Look at the screen," Sterling says. On the monitor, the assailant is clearly holding the weapon in his left hand. The 12 jurors are trapped in a room with a single question. Can a hat lie? The tension in the deliberation room is a mirror of the trial. One juror is obsessed with the DNA. DNA is the truth, he insists. The hat was at the scene. His hair was in the hat. Case closed. But another juror, a retired schoolteacher, can't move past the CCTV. She asks for a pen and a piece of paper. She asks the bailiff to have Marcus Thorne write a sentence. When the paper comes back, the handwriting is clear. Marcus Thorne is right-handed. They debate the lost hat theory. Is it possible a stranger found a hat in a park, wore it for 2 weeks, and coincidentally committed a robbery 3 blocks from the original owner's house? It sounds like a lie. It sounds impossible. But in the quiet of the room, they realize that impossible is not the same as guilty. The buzzer sounds. The courtroom fills for the last time. Marcus Thorne stands. His hands are trembling so hard he has to grip the edge of the table. He looks at his mother. She is holding a rosary. The clerk of the court reads the verdict. On the count of armed robbery, not guilty. On the count of first-degree assault, not guilty. Marcus doesn't celebrate. He sinks into his chair and weeps. The shop owner, David Russo, stands up and walks out without a word. For him, there is no justice. For Marcus, there is only the end of a nightmare. Marcus Thorne walked out of the courthouse that day, but he didn't go back to his old life. He had spent 6 months in a cell. He had lost his scholarship. His name, when searched online, is still linked to a violent crime. The true shooter, the left-handed man who found a blue hat in a park, was never caught. The case of Marcus Thorne teaches us that the courtroom is not a place where truth is discovered. It is a place where stories are weighed. Sometimes, the most convincing story is a lie told by a piece of evidence that doesn't talk back. In the end, Marcus's freedom didn't come from a brilliant speech or a dramatic confession. It came from a single frame of grainy video and the shape of a hand. Everything hinged on a decision to look past the DNA and into the shadows of a rainy night. If you want to see how the next case unfolds, click the video on your screen now. This is One Verdict Away,